today's video, we're going to talk about conversion tracking setups done through a Fiverr gig that you could buy for 5, 10, 50 bucks. Whether this is actually a brilliant idea, I'm going to cover which one of these it is. Granted, it's not either 100% of the time. Most of the time, it's a terrible idea. I'm going to explain exactly why that is. And no, it's not for some self-serving reason here why I'm going to say it's bad, okay? I'm just going to simply give you the facts, having seen this done dozens if not hundreds of times, whether or not you actually want to go ahead and do this for yourself. In marketing, everybody's first thing that they're tempted to do is cut corners. They just want the results without working for it. What's new in life? People want something for nothing or something for very little effort put in. As it comes to marketing though, you better not have competition, because if your competition had got off to put some effort in and you don't, you're going to have a damn hard time making money. And nobody cares about your feelings. All that matters at the end of the day is, can you sell to the people that you both want to sell to better than them or not? If you can, you make the millions. If not, they make the millions. So you can take your emotions out of the equation, and it takes a certain minimum amount of effort to outdo them, because everybody wants those customers. Will you put the time and effort in? The good thing is that, everything you need to do to beat your competition is all laid out on this channel for you for free. You put the work in, you will get the results. Why? Because most people are lazy. They want to put in maybe some work, not none, but some. It's easy to just blow completely past them when you're not the lazy one that your default thinking is, I want to do as little as possible. If you think I have to make this work as if my life depends on it, and if I didn't make this campaign work that I'm trying to run, the government's going to come blow my head off, you're going to get that damn campaign to work. And if you look at it as, oh, this is good enough, I'm sure this will work, you're gonna not make it work. Or you're going to get frustrated and you're going to quit before it works, one or the other. So I'm going to go into detail how to get this done the right way, not through Fiverr, or if you are in a situation where Fiverr will work, I will explain exactly what that is. And then I'll tell you exactly how much you could make doing this through Fiverr versus another way, not using Fiverr. I am Corey. I'm an owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that offers guaranteed results to clients. That is more profitability from their ads up front before charging management fees. We are the only firm on the planet that offers any kind of guarantee at all on the PPC services that anyone provides. With that said, I've got 20 years of advertising experience to create those kind of results for clients and to give you the results and to give you the information that is portrayed to you on this particular video. With that said, I'll get into the content. Now, to do conversion, so Fiverr is just a cheap way to do conversion tracking that people typically go to when they're just starting out and they're on a budget, so to say. I can understand if you're starting a business out today, you just quit your job at McDonald's and you're trying to start up your side hustle business, going to Fiverr might be a good idea or seem like a good idea because you really don't have much money to deal with. If you're a legitimate business that's been operating and you're doing more than a couple $100,000 a year in revenue already, you are a complete moron for trying to get things done this cheaply that is going to Fiverr. Now I admit, Fiverr's not the way that it was back in 2007. There's high-end providers, high-ish end providers that charge hundreds of dollars for gigs, and you can get okay results through Fiverr. Nothing amazing, but it's not complete quality like it used to be back when you started out and you really only could pay $5 for things. That said, there's plenty of reasons why it's still going to be way subpar of a solution to actually track your results when tracking the actual results that you get is half predicated on just adequate conversion tracking or doing conversion tracking that's better than your competition, because it's its own factor in your results, a significant factor. Naturally, you can run a great ad, but you're only going to make your ad so good, and the other half of the results comes from weeding out what didn't work for you and scaling up the part that did. And with conversion tracking data, you're never going to be able to do that. And that means the right conversion data. Not what you think is the right conversion data, but the right kind of conversion data I'm going to talk about in this particular video here. So to do conversion tracking right, I mean really right, if you want to absolutely freaking crush it, not take any shortcuts with this, this is the kind of thing that you're going to want to do. That's what we're going to do for a client when we have to guarantee results for them at our firm. That is, you're going to start out with micro conversions. If you're selling something that's fairly expensive, we're talking thousands of dollars, you'll help yourself get to profitability with your ads much sooner if you track micro conversions. People adding stuff to their cart, people that engage in a live chat itself, which I call that a micro conversion, because somebody who engages in a live chat, a lot of times that's not really what I would consider an official lead. Micro conversion could be somebody who's clicked on the FAQ, because somebody who isn't seriously interested ain't going to go to no FAQ to read anything. You set up these so-called micro conversions, and it allows you to build up conversion data sooner in the process of running that campaign, given you need a certain minimum amount of conversion data for the ads to start optimizing that you're running. And this applies to whether you're talking about Google, Facebook, Bing, LinkedIn ads, even anywhere you can do actual conversion tracking with your ads. It generally takes dozens of conversions before the ads start to be able to seriously optimize. And if you're going to wait 6 months for 30 purchases, you damn well need to be tracking micro conversions as well. So that's the first thing that people overlook when they're trying to set up their conversion tracking on the cheap. From there, you should be tracking your phone calls and your contact form fills, even if you're doing e-commerce businesses. Why? Because it's going to, along with the micro conversion data, give you extra conversion data just to have the algorithm that drives the ads, more data to work with sooner. And it really is an algorithm that drives the ads on all these platforms. They're going to see the people that convert versus don't convert, and the thousands of individual unique traits that user had versus users who didn't convert. How old they are, what websites they visit, where they like to eat, factored into the next ad that's going to be run for you or not run. So that's why the conversion data matters so much. You want to track those every time, regardless of what business you're in, because somebody who inquires obviously positively correlates with a purchase very strongly, which is where your micro conversions need to be set up. If something has a high correlative factor between purchases and that event, then you want to track it, because it's going to help you get what you wanted to get to profitability sooner in the process. Now, if you've already got 1,000 purchases, of course, tracking that is relevant. It really is. But if you're starting out, it helps a lot of times get you to profitability 2 or 3 times faster, literally, than you could have got otherwise without tracking those micro conversions. You're also going to consider tracking the cart purchases and online booking. Naturally, obviously, as people think about conversion tracking, they think about tracking cart purchases. Yeah, you do that. Or if you have like a service company, you might track your online bookings. So that should be the absolute bare minimum of what you're tracking, of course. But you could have that done through your Fiverr guy, if you will, but it's just a small piece of the total results you can get by doing conversion tracking properly. Because you could also set up offline conversion goals to go with it and get a lot better results, particularly when you're doing lead generation. That is, if you're doing e-commerce, and you do any sales through the phone, that is, you take people's credit cards over the phone and put them through a virtual terminal device and not force people to check out through your website, or you're going to get a lot more profitability from your ads and scale them a hell of a lot more if you're able to take that sales data that occurred offline and plug it back into your account. You need to set up conversion goals to be able to do that first and foremost. Whoever you hire to do your conversion tracking setup for you needs to set that up. And then they need to be able to upload those offline conversions at least weekly, best being bi-weekly. Why? Because the quicker the ad system that drives the ads for you and all the other people in your market get the conversion data, the quicker it can act on it. And so the quicker that data gets back into the account, the quicker you're going to get to a higher level of sales and profitability from your account. If you're doing lead generation, you need to be able to score the leads, have somebody physically look at the lead, score it, and then plug actual lead score into your account. There's 2 ways to do lead scoring. You could score a lead between 1 and 10 and then import that to your ad account to drive how your ads are aimed in the future. Or you could just simplify it and say, is this lead qualified or not? If it's qualified, you're going to import the lead that's qualified. But with that said, you track any lead that comes in, and then you track separately if that lead's qualified or not, because eventually you're going to want the ads to optimize on qualified lead data, not just any lead that comes in, because the best quality leads that convert at the highest rate won't be the cheapest leads. So if you just optimize for leads by itself, you're going to optimize for the shittiest leads over time. Honestly. And whereas you could be optimizing for leads that almost every time are qualified if you just fed the right conversion data into your account. My favorite's going to be having a separate goal to track qualified leads, and then I'm going to score that lead between 1 and 10, 10 being the best, and have that tied to, with a conversion, you can have whether something happened and then a value. The value can be the lead score. So not only are you just going to optimize for qualified leads, but on top of that, you're going to optimize for leads that are the most qualified. 10 out of 10 leads. You can only do that if you feed the right data into your account. Well, somebody's got to be doing that for you, and a one-off Fiverr gig ain't going to put you in a position to truly do that. And you may say, oh, I can do that. I work with clients all the time. I tell them the value of what I just mentioned to you all the time. And guess what? After 2 or 3 months, people don't do it anymore. They talk themselves out of how important it is, which is a great thing for you, because I could tell all your competitors to do this. None of them are going to do it because they're too arrogant or they're too lazy. You do it, and it's like literally being able to see in the dark. It's like being able to go into battle at night, having a freaking infrared scope to battle your enemy. You know exactly where the highest quality leads come from, and then once you see those, you can outbid all your competition for those leads. Whereas, guess what? Your competition ain't gonna, because they're too damn arrogant to do it, they're gonna be gobbling up all the quality leads. You're just leaving them and laughing your ass off while they're gobbling up all those quality leads, and you're bidding just a bit more to outbid them for the best quality leads. And yes, you have to pay 50% more per click to get those best quality leads, but they're converting at 5 times the rate. And so now you're getting a way higher ROI on the ad spend that you have, and your competition's working their asses off just to make a small profit margin on each job or each sale that they're getting. You also got enhanced conversion tracking / server-side tracking. This is not huge, but when you're doing e-commerce businesses and you're selling something that's more expensive, that is over $100 in cost, the average person's not going to buy on the first visit to your website. Because cookie tracking is not working as great as it used to, when you can actually use server-side tracking or enhanced conversion tracking to track conversions, it'll allow you to track more conversions as a whole, because it isn't predicated on cookie-based tracking anymore. And I won't go into too much more detail about that. If you want to watch if you should be using enhanced conversion tracking, watch my separate video about that. You can go to my channel homepage, search for enhanced conversion tracking, explain why and when it's going to specifically be worth it for you to set that up, because it's going to make you more money and offset the cost of setting it up, because it's not simple. But in general, it's about getting a higher percentage of conversion data, particularly the ones that take the longest for the person to decide to buy, which are the biggest purchases, which is mainly the reason why you do it, if you will. But even with that, you can go ahead and do offline conversion tracking, and that will basically make the enhanced conversion tracking or server-side tracking setup redundant, so to say, if you're able to track purchases when normally somebody's going to turn into a lead and they're going to buy later on. But if normally they don't contact you before they buy, let's say, and they on average buy 3 weeks later, the enhanced conversion tracking can pick up a lot more conversion data from people that are on iOS devices, using Brave browser, and others just switching devices in general before they purchase, which is going to not allow the data connection to happen because the cookies are not going to follow that user to the next device and so forth, which will get you about 10% more conversion data, which that doesn't sound like much. 10% more conversion data can mean 30% more profit easily, because you're going to get the biggest purchases tracked more efficiently, and the ad account you have is going to optimize for better quality, higher profitability purchases versus actively work to optimize against it. Because this is something people don't really realize. If you don't track, do what you can to track the big purchases. That is, purchases that take people a long time to decide to get. What the system is going to basically do is optimize for small purchases. So instead of actually not just caring if it gets big purchases, it's actually going to optimize for not getting the big purchases and just go for the small purchases. And you can't complain you're getting them if you don't give the system all the data it needs to see when a big purchase comes through as well. And if you want purchases to get bigger over time, you have to do everything you can to get those bigger purchases to be tracked. And enhanced conversion tracking and server-side tracking is a way to do it. You also got to do goal testing monthly. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to hire a Fiverr gig person to set up my tracking and then I'm done. Ha ha ha. I'm not paying no damn marketing firm to do this for me. I'm not going to pay them their monthly fee, whatever. Who do they think they are? I'm not working. I own the business. Nobody should be making as much as me. Ultimately, that's where most people go wrong. If you don't know about marketing, if the person you hire for marketing isn't getting paid as much as you are as the business owner, you're going to end up hiring some bozo who doesn't actually know anything about marketing. People that really, really know about marketing and can get provable, profitable results with ad campaigns ain't selling their damn services for 50 grand a year. These are going to be bozos that are going to be learning on your dime, and you think you're so clever, you're going to take what they have. They're so stupid for working for somebody. I'm going to take their skills and be rich off their skills. People that know how to get results aren't stupid. If they were stupid, they wouldn't be able to get those results to start with. So the sooner you realize that the only way you would get somebody who knows anything about marketing to work for you is going to be making what you make. If you never figure that out, you'll just keep spinning your wheels forever unless you sell something that's completely like a game-changing technology. If you have a free energy device, you can hire an idiot marketing person and crush it, okay? That's the exception, okay? But if you're in a high competitive market, forget about it, basically, in today's environment. But with that said, okay, you can get to where you try to hire somebody for a one-time thing, not hire a marketing firm and all that, but nobody's going to be testing those conversion goals on a monthly basis. These agencies that you have to pay monthly, you may not like it. I know people hate paying the damn marketing agencies. They hate it so much. At the end of the day, they exist for a reason. The other people hiring them they're just stupid and whatever. They're doing it for a reason. To maintain with this stuff. It's not like a magazine ad that basically manages itself. It's changing all the time, breaks all the time. You don't know how often it is that we'll set up tracking for a client, 2 months later, it's completely broken. And a lot of that comes down to people make changes to their website and they're like, we just make this change over here. They're so clueless. And then they just break their tracking and then their ad campaign goes off in the left field as a result of that because they're so damn clueless. You gotta have good people who understand web marketing and how all marketing works and technology works, not fall for those mistakes. And you gotta have someone that's testing these goals, because if you don't, when that day eventually happens, you make that small little tweak to your website you thought was totally harmless and you were totally clueless about it, it's gonna screw up your entire results that you got. And if it gets screwed up for long enough, that is, the tracking doesn't work for long enough, because you've got to realize it's the tracking, why your ads are not working like they were before, and you have to then hire somebody to fix it. And then if you wait too long, the results are going to go back to zero whack when you first started. So you are literally gambling millions of dollars on trying to save a little bit of money because you don't want to hire somebody to maintain the tracking for you. You can have someone in-house that helps you test the tracking, but you need to keep testing it. We test our clients' tracking every month, and that actually should be done technically once a week. But at the same time, people hate getting test form submissions, so we don't do that. But it breaks enough, we literally have to test it once a month, because the ad results you get is all predicated on the past history of the account and the tracking data. If that ever gets screwed up, your results are going to go away. It's like taking a heroin addict off of heroin, basically. They're going to have a conniption, the whole thing is just going to fall apart once that piece of what you're doing isn't there anymore. Telling you in advance, I'm not embellishing this. It literally, you start to eventually, you paid your dues, you're 18 months into this campaign, it's making you 50 grand a month. You lose that tracking, you watch how fast that 50 grand a month disappears. And it's not going to be if it disappears. That is, if your tracking breaks. If you are planning to do business for the next 10 years, as you should, because that's the only thing that makes doing all the work to get the ads to work in the first place to be justified doing it, it's going to break at some point. It's just a matter of when. Is it going to be next week, next year, 5 years from now? And when it happens, you're going to probably be on some island sipping a Mai Tai saying, oh, I'm so happy I watched Corey's YouTube videos and I figured out how to get my ads to work. And the time it takes for you from that point to get the ads fixed, with the tracking fixed, you may have lost the whole thing because it was too much of a delayed reaction. So be proactive, not reactive. The other thing a Fiverr setup guy isn't going to do is give you the phone purchases to be uploaded. I talked about this before, but the offline purchases that you have, you need to upload those to the system. And even if you do like online quoting and you send people a quote through the email, if they get that quote through email and then it's on a different device and they buy, you're going to have a gap in your conversion data. So really what you need to do is take every single phone call and form fill, and if they purchase, you need to upload it to Google Ads, okay, so to say, in order to get the complete picture on how the ads are doing and so the system can properly optimize your ads and not just optimize for small purchases, because the people that buy through the phone are going to be the people that buy higher ticket. It's going to be bigger purchases. People are more likely to call before they buy if it's a big purchase because they want to know who they're dealing with and make sure they're dealing with a steady, stable company. Smaller purchases, yeah, well, who cares? We'll just put that thing through. I don't need to call and ask questions or just know who I'm dealing with. So you're going to be dealing with, and you're going to be setting yourself up from failure right from the start. The system's going to optimize for small purchases, not the whale purchases that you're looking for. Then you got backup goals. Okay, Fiverr guy, and this goes into them not being able to properly consult you on this stuff, which is why you hire a firm in the first place. If you didn't need a firm, and if firms were stupid, everybody would just hire Fiverr guys for everything and then they'd be rich. And everybody would be, it would be a party, 365 party, people would not work. They would set up little websites and everything would be great after hiring some Fiverr guys to set it all up. You need backup goals. They're not going to tell you this, but the tracking breaks all the time, okay? When the tracking breaks, if you don't have a backup goal that's been collecting data in the background to switch to, you can be, okay, because even with a team on deck to fix your tracking when it breaks, you don't have that tracking. So particularly with the purchase tracking, what we'll do on our clients' campaigns, because we know better, we'll have a Google Ads purchase goal, let's say when we're talking about Google Ads, and then a second purchase goal using Google Analytics 4, so that if the Google Ads purchase goal ever breaks, we have the Google Analytics goal to work right away, so we can just switch the campaigns to use the one source of revenue data versus the other while we fix the original goal, because sometimes it can take multiple days to figure out what the hell's wrong with it. It breaks for no reason. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of times the conversion tracking is using a plugin. There's no reason why it broke other than the platform itself, coding changed it a little bit, and you had to disconnect and reconnect it for it to work again. Stuff you learn, doing this for a decade plus. But with that said, if you have no backup goal, during that time where you're fixing it, you're under mega pressure because the ads are going to start going off the rails a couple days after the goal breaks. Don't put yourself in that pressure cooker of not having a backup goal that's been collecting data for months and years before that original goal that everything optimizes from, that tracking goal that everything operates from, goes south. And not only that, but another thing people don't realize is they think when the conversion tracking breaks, it's all for nothing. I can't tell you how many times the conversion tracking breaks and the tracking is intermittent. It works sometimes, not all, which you may ask, well, how do you know it's broken? That's the question. That's the golden question. You don't unless you have a backup goal. You could put a test purchase through, but who's to say that test purchase worked, but the next 3 purchases won't work, and then the next purchase after that, it will work. How do you even know the tracking goal needs to be worked on? Well, you have a backup goal and you understand that if the revenue or, conversion goal data is significantly different than your backup goal, then your primary goal is broken or it's not, it's intermittently working. That's truly the only way you would know if it's intermittently working or not. And why does it only intermittently work when no changes were made? Good proof knows. All you need to know is it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And the only way to really know if it's broken and being proactive about it instead of waiting for your ads to completely go off in the left field and then do something about it is to have a backup goal and somebody going into the account at least every 30 days. And if you want to really harden up your setup because you're making that much money and your business relies on it that much, you're going in there and you're checking it every 3 days. Are the backup goal numbers the same as the primary goal that the campaigns are optimizing from? If not, why is it? Do I need to switch to this backup goal while the primary goal is being fixed? That's how you set up rock hard, solid systems in your conversion tracking. And then therefore, with the ads that all rely on that conversion data, how do you set up so you have as little downtime and poor performance from your ads as possible? Because a typical guy is not going to have any of this. It's going to take him 3 weeks to fix the tracking after he figures out it is the tracking. And that 50 grand a month he was making, well, it's 15 grand this month just simply because the tracking broke. I mean, it may not, hiring a firm to help you set this shit up right and maintain it may not be palatable to you now. If you consider what you're going to be making down the road with this, which that should be your only goal to do it right. Eventually, you save that 35 grand. It's going to, everything you're paying this firm is going to be offset just through not having that happen down the road to you. Backup team to fix things. A Fiverr guy, guess what? The reason why everybody doesn't use freelancers in general and Fiverr guys is when with the tracking breaks, you try to go to the other guy and say, why did it break? Or, I want to ask you questions about the setup so we know how to work on it. That guy's long freaking gone or not likely to respond. You may say, well, he's got a gig. I can contact him later, or I could get his contact information from Fiverr so I can contact him later. But still at the same time, these freelancer people, they'll work for a while and then they disappear. You hire a firm because you know for the next 10 years, when you need them, they'll be ready and they'll be available, and you won't have to take 10 days to hear from them because they might be on vacation, whatever. With as much as the conversion tracking in your account being mission critical to your overall profitability from your ads, you cannot rely on a guy who may or may not even be available one week to fix tracking when it breaks. And then when you know that guy's not available and you have to scramble to find somebody else, then you're taking a gamble on the next person in line even being competent enough to do it, because I could tell you firsthand, for every guy that's competent enough to do it, there's 5 who aren't. So you're going to be possibly your ads up big time during the time where you're trying to figure out who to hire, when you could have just had a firm who knew how to do it on retainer in the first place and avoided all this mess from happening before it ever started. And it will happen. It's just a matter of when. Just keep that in mind. So Fiverr is yes, it's cheap. For $50, you can set up a cart tracking goal and get it to work. But what about everything else I said? And why settle for a tiny bit of results ultimately? If you don't know how to set this up the right way, of course, this is what we do for our firm. You can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. By the way, while you reach out to us, we can tell you how much we can lift the profitability of your ads up front, or get to level of profitability we can get you to with your campaigns on guarantee. All you got to do is reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about it. We also sell ad templates. If we've already got you the results you're looking for in your niche market, you literally can buy the winning ad, landing page, and campaign template to get those results that we got in a different geographic market for a different client of ours, and just copy paste the results we literally are or have got with that template into your ad account, and save yourself all the time and money and effort it took for us to figure out how to get to those results. Many times over years, you get to those results right away, and only for a one-time fee buying the template from us. We got people that buy these templates, by the way, to start whole other businesses. If you want the easiest way to start a business, get a template of ours that we know is profitable for another client and use it in a different geographic area that our client's not in, and you have a turnkey business. Selling mattresses, printer toner, whatever you want to do. Or if you want to start selling leads, we've got many people that just sell our leads using our templates because they generate leads at a low cost. And most business owners don't have a freaking clue on how to run ads properly. So anyway, if you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. If you have any questions, by the way, about anything I mentioned here or any other marketing related question, you can leave me a comment in the comment section. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. I do that as a way of just saying thank you for watching the channel, helping the channel grow, and of course, helps other people that want to find this channel and ultimately learn as well. So with all that said, now if you want to know how much this is actually going to affect your profitability, going through all the so-called trouble of doing everything I mentioned to you here, multiple ways this makes you a lot more money from what you're doing. First of which, you're going to be able to get to profitability with your ads 2 to 3 times faster if you're selling something that's got that's a big commitment, like $1,000 grill, let's say, through using micro conversion data and all that. If you're talking about long-term, after you get past the point of profitability with your ads, you can easily make 3 times as much money doing offline conversion tracking and importing any offline sales to your account that would occur offline, or sales that occur from leads, because I didn't really talk about that. The best results are going to come from the leads you have, understanding the sales you get from those leads, and then having a separate conversion goal in your ad account to just track the sales that you got from the campaigns you're running. So the campaign's optimized for not just sales, but profit. That is the revenue divided by ad spend, not cost per lead. You will literally make 3 times as much money from the same exact ad spend long term optimizing on a profit level versus cost per lead level. And then forget about, like, if you don't even track leads at all and you're just going and running that campaign, good luck even trying to make it make money. You may make money, but comparing that versus tracking sales and profit and then optimizing on the profit, you're talking about 10 times as much results. Long term, feeding that correct data into your account. We've got many examples of clients who weren't doing any conversion tracking. We added the conversion tracking and their sales started to go up like clockwork, basically. We had a company that sold like elderly care supplies and stuff like that. And the client wasn't doing any conversion tracking. They're just running ads to their store itself. They had also had a local brick and mortar location. Okay. Spending around $3,000 a month on ads on Google Ads. No conversion tracking. Switch to having the best conversion tracking setup possible. With all the bells and whistles, we had all the leads tracked, any online purchases that people just decided to buy online itself tracked, using in-store tracking because Google Ads has a way for you to be able to do that. And then also on top of everything else, feeding in sales that occurred in the brick and mortar store that originally started out as a form or phone call. We were able to take that company that was plateaued at around $300,000 a year in sales to up over $1 million in sales just after 2 years, just getting the correct data into the account. So that shows you exactly, and I can show you if you want to know which company it is, reach out to me at my firm. I'll definitely show you that example. But that shows you how much this matters to your overall bottom line when you got it set up correctly. I can look like a genius at our firm simply by just doing the conversion tracking right. Forget about the ads. I mean, if they've been running, those ads with no tracking, I can just do that and get the guaranteed result that we're promising to the client just with the tracking setup. Which, of course, you want to do a hell of a lot more than just get your tracking set up properly. But I'm just telling you that to put things into reference, how much this stuff actually does for you. If you want to know the rest of the tricks on making the ads better, the landing pages better, which is the other main components to it, or making sure your site converts right, subscribe to this channel, as I promise you're not going to find any other information about the topic of making money from ads for your business anywhere else, because it's coming from somebody who spends 40 hours a week just doing ad strategy for clients and figuring out and seeing for myself what works and what doesn't work. Most of the other content you're going to find on YouTube and elsewhere is coming from people who don't really run any ads. They're trying to sell you a course, or they run a couple ads. They really don't know anything. This is what 98% of the market in the education market is doing. And they do it because they know they can convince most people, that they are knowledgeable when they're not. When you're not an expert, you don't know how to tell an expert from a non-expert for the most part. And there's just very few people spending 40 hours a week doing ad strategy like I am at our firm. I literally do the content that I'm talking like these videos on the weekend, talking about what I learned Monday through Friday and what works and what doesn't work. So if you're going to pay attention to anybody and anything, you want to pay attention to this first at the very least. You should also check out my blog that I have on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has actual step-by-step instructions to execute the strategies we're using to guarantee results for clients at our firm as well. So you should definitely check that out as well if you're serious about making money online with ads for your business. With all that said, to sum this up, if you're doing any kind of lead generation and you don't have your conversion tracking set up like this, or you're talking about 5-10 times as much money you can make just getting this tracking set up right. If you're doing e-commerce businesses, or if you're an e-commerce business and you go ahead and do all this stuff right, and assuming you have, let's say, no purchases are coming through the phone, you may say, well, I don't have purchases coming through the phone. If they call, they go ahead and they put their cart purchase through the website. Just tracking the phone calls, the form fills that are coming in, using it as actual supplementary information that Google's system or any other ad platform can use to optimize the ads is still going to make a considerable difference in the ROI that you're getting. And then also considering that you're not going to have any downtime with your tracking because you've got backup systems all ready to go and you're maintaining the tracking. If you're looking at over a 5-year period of time and you're in that type of situation, just making your tracking work properly that whole time, or with very little downtime, and having the micro conversion data in there, forget about any offline revenue that you're uploading to your account, you should still be able to make 50 to 100% more money during that 5-year period of time than not. We know because we've done these kind of things before in the past. We've sold party supplies, Even on a Facebook campaign, we were able to get that kind of lift once we started doing the tracking properly. Low ticket goods, offline sales weren't a big thing, but then adding in everything we can to track and have all the good redundancies built into the system, we made a considerable impact in the results. And with that, didn't have to even optimize the Facebook ads that much, just got the tracking set up really, really well for them. And everything else started to come up just from having that done. Whereas most of our work was on Google search, the Facebook was kind of like an afterthought because it's kind of already, once you have, your lookalike audience targeting and your ad set up there and is working, it's not too much to do. Unlike with Google, there's always, and YouTube and all that, there's kind of like something always more to do. But that gives you kind of a mini case study there on how much you can get, even if you think, you're not going to benefit that much. That's going to be your bare minimum doing this stuff I talked about. So you can go from 50% more results over the next 5 years to literally 10 times more getting this data in your account the correct way. And it certainly could just be the difference between making money and not after expenses, which most people, when they start out, that's the thing. 90% of people who start running ads are never going to make a profit because they don't put the effort in and get the knowledge they need to, what it actually takes to get the results and put the effort in to actually do it. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said conversion tracking was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.